Right now, it looks like Ubisoft is trying to hitch their wagon to the old phrase, no publicity is bad publicity, with the latest announcement trailer for their game Assassin's Creed Shadows, because in it, the game is set within feudal Japan, yet the main playable character, or one of the main playable characters, is a black samurai. Now, some people have defended this decision by saying that he's based off of a historical figure, as in, like, he's based off of it, as in, like, they found a black man within Japanese history, so they're just saying that he happened to be a samurai and a great warrior. Okay, fine. They're also trying to defend it by saying Assassin's Creed games have never been historically accurate, so presumably they can do whatever they want with the setting because it's not supposed to be historically accurate anyway, so just kind of run with it. Or at least that's the decision Ubisoft seems to be making. But still, a lot of Japanese gamers are upset by this decision, or at least puzzled by this decision, because this is the first Assassin's Creed game set within Japan, and yet the main male playable character is not of Japanese origin. So some people don't like it, and they're getting a lot of backlash. But this is just one of the small things that's been happening with Ubisoft in recent months that's been really hurting them as a company. And the latest news coming out from them saying that their stock value has actually reduced 15% since the announcement of this trailer. Ubisoft stock plummeted over 15% after the company released its first trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows and reported it missed forecast sales figures. I think that last bit is the most important factor in all this. I'm not saying Assassin's Creed trailer doesn't have any factor in this. I do believe that is going to be a problem for them in the future, and I'll get to that in a moment. But this is ultimately about, if a company doesn't think it's going to be making as much money as what they previously predicted, then it makes sense that a lot of investors wouldn't want to be investing in a company and giving them money if that company itself doesn't think they're going to be doing that well. On May 15th, Ubisoft stock hit $23.35. By May 16th, the price plummeted to $20.02. It went as low as $19.74. As of writing, the price is currently at $21.28. The decline in the stock value for Ubisoft came after the company announced their Q1 net bookings, where they forecasted they're going to be making around $299 million or 275 million euros. However, according to Bloomberg, this is significantly lower than what they previously projected, and they also had this to say. That compares with an average estimate of 376 million euros among analysts surveyed by Bloomberg. 376 million euros is about $408.7 million. So it's not a good sign for a company when they're having to reduce how much they forecast the company is going to be making. But Ubisoft did have this to say. While Ubisoft predicted first quarter bookings would come in lower than expected, the company did try to be optimistic about its future outlook with Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws. The fiscal year 25 lineup includes, on the premium side, Assassin's Creed Shadows and Star Wars Outlaws, two of the industry's most anticipated games for the year, and on the free-to-play side, Rainbow Six Mobile, The Division Resurgence, and X-Defiant had added. And that's kind of a problem for a company like this, at least for future projections, when you have the two most anticipated games for that company are ones that aren't really well received on social media. You can look at the trailer for Star Wars Outlaws. They talk about it right here, how as of the time of recording, it has 2.4 million views. It has over 179,000 dislikes and just over 40,000 likes. I checked on that myself, and yeah, it's pretty much along what they said. This has been about a month-old video, 2.4 million views. You would think it'd be a little bit more if it's really an anticipated game, but this is all they have. But I am going to be fair, and this is the official story trailer when that came out about a month ago. The official announcement trailer for the game is a little bit better received, but as you can see right here, it only has 3.1 million views, and it's almost been out for around a year now. So it really doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of hype for this game, and the recent hype around the game is basically in the negative. And that's the same for Assassin's Creed Shadows. They just released the first trailer for that. And you can see here it has over 6 million views. So there's a lot more buzz surrounding this game than Star Wars Outlaws. But still, it's not positive buzz. And I think Ubisoft is hoping that they can leverage this into something a bit more positive, that they can still make sales. You know, like I was saying at the start of the video, no publicity is bad publicity. I just personally have my doubts that this is going to work out for them as a company. And a lot of people will say this is an example of get woke, go broke. And I don't necessarily subscribe to that belief system, because that implies what the company is doing is successful, and then they go woke, and then all of a sudden they lose out. I think what happens more often than not is the company, it's the other phrase, go broke, get woke, where what you're doing as a company isn't successful for you. So you're going to try to change up what you're doing in order to try to attract another audience. And I think companies understand when they're doing something like this, they could potentially alienate some of their user base, but they're hoping that they're actually going to gain more people as a result of all this. So it's a bit of a gambit on their part, but I think they're doing it as an act of desperation because they're not making enough money in order to support themselves. Maybe they're hoping that the controversy that they're stirring up with this will be just enough free publicity that'll help them out. But I just have my doubts about it because it seems like they're attacking gamers in order to try to attract a new user base, which I guess that would mean a new user base of people who aren't real gamers. And if that's the case, then you really shouldn't be trying to market your product to people who don't necessarily buy games to begin with. But I don't know. Apparently they see different with this, but this could have all been avoided if they would have just set the game in kind of feudal Japan and had a Japanese character. You could even have had Yasuke as a side character. I don't think people would have cared about that. I think a lot of people would have actually liked the representation if that was what they were trying to do with this one, but instead they had to make him front and center because they knew it would stir up some controversy and give them a bunch of free press. And I think they were hoping that that free press will pay off for them, but I don't know. That remains to be seen. And some people trying to defend this by saying he was based off a historical figure. Just imagine for a second, Assassin's Creed was trying to make a game like, let's say, set in South Africa in the 19th century, call it like Assassin's Creed Zulu. They say you're going to be playing as a Zulu chief in Assassin's Creed game or whatever. People are like, okay, that's cool. And then when the game trailer is released, it's John Robert Dunn that you're playing as. And if for people who don't know, John Robert Dunn was a white British guy who kind of was taken in by the Zulu people as kind of an ambassador to them and ultimately made a chief and given land and stuff like that. So just imagine like, yeah, you're going to be playing as a Zulu warrior and then you're playing as this guy. Then there's people defending it by saying like, no, he's based off a historical figure. Do you think there'd be backlash to that? Yeah, there would. And rightfully so, because if you're going to be playing as a Zulu warrior, you want to be playing as a real Zulu warrior. And I would be saying the same thing. You should have this person be as a side character because that's kind of an interesting tidbit of history, kind of like with Yasuke and Japanese history. So maybe that's the path that they should have gone, but instead they chose the path, the controversy. So I don't know. I mean, that's probably why their stock value is not doing too good, because when companies take risks like that, they're only taking risks and gambling when things aren't going good. And that kind of turns away investors. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Are you actually interested in playing any of their upcoming games like Star Wars Outlaws or Assassin's Creed, or are you just kind of done with Ubisoft for the time being? And if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest in entertainment news. And don't forget to like and share the video because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.